Okay, we are live. Hello, I'm Howard Mann, creator of Conscious Shifting, and welcome to Conscious Shifting. Before we get started, a quick warning and disclaimer. Conscious shifting and all known side effects will improve your physical, mental, and spiritual health while creating the ideal environment for spiritual awakening, helping you live the life of your dreams and influence the world in a positive way. So, if that's something that interests you, become part of our tribe by following this page and then join us here on Facebook Wednesday evenings, 6 p.m. California time for Conscious Shifting. You can also subscribe to our channel on YouTube. There's many there's so many of you. In fact, we just hit 20,000 followers. So, it's simply that we cannot personally communicate with all of you. So the way to communicate with us is through our daily thought provoking posts or the weekly live. If you have a question, chances are that there's thousands of other people with the same question. So simply place your question in the comment box and we'll reply by answering your question from a spiritual perspective. And this will benefit everyone who follows the page. All right, so let's get started here and see who we have in. I see Kim and Tina and Cheryl, Love, Laugh, and Be Happy in the house. Welcome. So next week is Thanksgiving, therefore there will not be a live. Chances are you guys all have stuff that you're doing. Busy week. And as is our tradition, we will do the Thanksgiving special this week. So tonight the topic is Thanksgiving and gratitude. So before we get into Thanksgiving, it's fun to bring up some facts that may or may not be known about Thanksgiving. For example, Benjamin Franklin wanted the turkey to be the national bird, not the eagle. Female turkeys do not gobble. Wild turkeys, when scared, can run up to 20 miles per hour, but domesticated turkeys are heavier and slower. Americans eat over 50 million turkeys each Thanksgiving, and the heaviest turkey on record is 86 pounds and won the heaviest turkey competition in London in 1989. The average turkey for Thanksgiving weighs 16 pounds. Hi, Wasanthra. Hey, Kathy. Hey, Ray. Welcome. The first Thanksgiving was in fall of 1621, but the national holiday would not be created for more than 200 years. Sarah Josepha Hale, after 17 years of writing letters trying to establish the holiday, convinced President Lincoln to make Thanksgiving a national holiday in 1863. The first Thanksgiving meal consisted of wild deer, waterfowl, and seafood. There was most likely pumpkins and cranberries, but they wouldn't have been prepared the same way that we prepare them today. They used spoons and knives to eat. Forks were not a common utensil until the 18th century. Indeed. Can you imagine 86 pounds? So Swanson created the first TV dinner in 1954, modeled after a Thanksgiving feast. The meal consisted of turkey, gravy, cornbread stuffing, sweet potatoes, and buttered peas, and it sold for a whopping 98 cents. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin's first meal in space after walking on the moon was turkey. And each year, the President of the United States can pardon a turkey and spare it from being eaten. The first turkey pardon ceremony started with President Truman in 1947. So there's some facts about Thanksgiving. Let's move into the actual discussion of Thanksgiving and gratitude. That is, after all, what the holiday is about. So the Pilgrims would not have made history in the way they did if it were not for the fact that they were very spiritual people. If you think about it, they packed up and they left home within the known world. And they left that in search of a new land for religious freedom. Now, at the time, a lot of people still thought that the world was flat and that these ships might just sail off the edge of the earth into oblivion. So this was a scary thing. And it's not like they were going to some continent that was established either. They were making this voyage and hoping that they landed on land. So it was a very dangerous journey across the Atlantic Ocean. You know, you could perish in a storm very easily, and you could become lost at sea even easier. Not to mention that they were sailing to an unknown land of uncertainty. They didn't know what was there. There were no cruise ships with restaurants and swimming pools and private cabins and toilets and showers. The fact of the matter is that the Pilgrims sailed on cargo ships that were about 80 feet long and 24 feet wide. And they had already been living on board for about a month and a half before they even set sail. And then it was a little over 2 months to get to the New World. And toilets consisted of buckets that they would toss overboard when the seas and the storms permitted. Think about that. Sleeping, most of them slept on the floor down in the hole. And there were some that had some makeshift bunks. There were no showers on board. And when they finally arrived, there was no welcoming committee. There was no town, just new undeveloped land. Now, amazingly, even with all that went on, they were still extremely grateful. And these same spiritual beliefs that gave them the courage to make a voyage like this also gave them the gratitude for the opportunity to practice religious freedom. About half of the pilgrims died during the voyage and from disease during the first winter. They still felt blessed, though. And so they were grateful. Let's see if we have any questions so far. Hi, Tracy. How you doing? Hi, Christina. All right. So early civilizations were mostly agricultural, and life and spirituality were very closely aligned with nature. The sun, the moon, the seasons were of particular importance. Most people celebrated some form of a harvest festival and a fall celebration of thanks after the harvest season. And this is really the roots of Thanksgiving. The Pilgrims were English colonists who settled in America, and religious freedom was the main driving force in their migration. They brought with them their religion and culture, including the harvest festival. So they first settled in an area known as Plymouth, Massachusetts, that is. And there were Native Americans that were living in the area. They were the ancestors of the Wampanoag Nation. And these local Indians also celebrated a harvest festival. So, although these people had never met, they were on totally different continents. At that time, people all over the world were predominantly agricultural. And as a result of that, they had something in common. They both celebrated and worshiped God. They were both spiritual people in honor of the harvest. So the pilgrims, what they did was they regularly gave thanks. And that was part of their religion, but they also had days of Thanksgiving consisting of prayer and fasting. Not quite the Thanksgiving that we have today. But in autumn of 1621, the Pilgrims completed their first harvest in the New World, and they planned a harvest festival of Thanksgiving. Now, in celebration, they started firing off guns and cannons, and that got the attention of the local Indians who came over to see what was going on and what all the noise was about. And what ended up happening was, rather than their traditional, that is the Pilgrims, their traditional fasting, it ended up being a celebration that included the Indians, and they ended up having a 3-day feast. There were about 53 pilgrims left at that time, and about, from what the records show, about 90 Wampanoag Indians. And the feast included waterfowl, venison, ham, lobster, clams, berries, fruit, pumpkin, and other types of squash. They had various types of squash. And so that's really how Thanksgiving got started. That was the first actual Thanksgiving celebration as we know it today, with friends and family and food. Hi, Stella. Stella says, "Thank God we are alive as a group to see the last month of November." Indeed, indeed. So that is how Thanksgiving got started, and giving thanks to God during the Harvest Festival became a national celebration with family, friends, and lots of great food. And at the heart of Thanksgiving is gratitude, recognition of a greater power working towards the greater good in all things. When we lack gratitude, more negative stuff happens. We can become lost in despair. People in that situation tend to wonder, why me? And the reason is because when we focus on lack, lack is what we create. Remember that we are co creators, we are spiritual beings, and we are co creators of this reality. What we think about expands into reality. And so, if you look at people, there are those that have varying degrees of spiritual consciousness, and some none at all. They're what we call spiritually unconscious. So some people, no matter how much they have, it's never enough. And there's other people that, no matter how little they have, they always seem to have enough. So it's not about how much you have. It's about how much gratitude you have for what you have. And when you give thanks for the blessings that you have in life, there are more blessings bestowed upon you. This is the law of attraction. This is the grace of God. And this is really what the pilgrims were getting at when they gave thanks to God and showed gratitude. And that's really what the Thanksgiving holiday is based upon. I know that it's not typically taught this way, but it's just historical fact. I know, Thanksgiving already. Hi, Susan. Yes, Thanksgiving already next week. So we'll do the posts as normal, but there won't be any live. So this is it. This is the Thanksgiving live. But the bottom line here is that, and it's a fairly short live, and we will do a bit of a healing circle. But I just wanted to take the opportunity, as we usually do around the holidays, to talk about the holidays, you know, the root of the holidays, not the commercialized version. I mean, it's okay to eat turkey and all that stuff. No problem there. You know, feast, do whatever. But just remember that it's really a spiritual celebration, giving thanks to God and being grateful for what we have. And that's the difference. The difference between people who never have enough and always have enough is gratitude. That's the difference. Melody Beattie sums it up this way: gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos into order, confusion into clarity. It can turn a meal into a feast, a house into a home, and a stranger into a friend. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. It's a beautiful quote, isn't it? So, gratitude turns lack into abundance. It's the secret to the law of attraction and higher levels of consciousness. It all these things that we talk about here are all different aspects of spirituality. But without them, you're actually creating blocks to spirituality, blocks to higher consciousness. A lot of people get it confused. Gratitude being one of them. So we give thanks, and when we do, we are in alignment with the universe. We then reap spiritual gifts. Being ungrateful creates obstructions to these gifts because it creates spiritual blocks. And prayer is an expression of gratitude. Real prayer is an expression of gratitude. It's not like getting up on Santa's lap and begging for all the stuff that we want. That's not prayer. And that's not how spiritual realities work either. I want a new car, I want a new boss, but most of all, I want a new boyfriend. And this time, the perfect one, good looking, rich, and super nice. That's just wishful thinking. And it's operating from a place of lack. And the reason that you don't have those things is because you're, frankly, operating in low levels of consciousness, or you would have those things. It's not that you're good and you earn something, you're rewarded. That's not how it works. The more you understand who and what you are, a spiritual being temporarily in the human condition, the more you understand the spiritual connection that we all have and the spiritual connection that you have to God, in fact, that all of us combined make God up. The more you understand that, the higher level of consciousness you're going to hold. And everything around you is going to reflect that. It's the level of consciousness that creates the reality. It's that simple. Gratitude brings us closer to God, so it creates a higher reality. Hi, Tracy. Tracy says, where your focus goes, the energy flows. Exactly. What you put your attention on, your consciousness, what you're conscious of, your energy will naturally go there. You don't have to do anything. It's just you direct it with your attention. And the higher the field of consciousness, the higher the level of consciousness, the higher the energetic field is, because it corresponds to consciousness. That energy carries information. And that field of information is what does the work. Energy interacting with energy. That's how healing's done. It's how reality is created. Susan says we have a lot to be grateful, thankful, and blessed for. I did a random act of kindness today for a homeless man. Awesome. Awesome. Random acts of kindness. That's the way to roll. So, real prayer is a type of meditation. It's communication with God. That's what it is. And it's not about asking for goodies. It's not about asking for God to give you things, to solve your problems, to strike your enemies down, or any of this kind of stuff. It's about asking for guidance to do it God's way, and knowing that if we do, the miracles of grace will follow. It's following higher consciousness, divine information that flows through you and into this world. So when we show gratitude for the small things, we will manifest bigger things. We create a high vibrating environment with gratitude, and it's contagious. People around you will start responding. Again, energy influencing and interacting with other energy, the vibe that people put off, it's contagious. Walk into a room with a bunch of people that are kind of down with a bright smile and a happy attitude and hey, how you doing? And just watch how the energy in the room shifts. It's very real. It's not woo woo at all. It's we live it every day. We're just not really always aware of it. So John F. Kennedy said something one time. He said, as we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live them. And you see the difference? It's not about knowing something or thinking something or even believing something. It's about being something. And in that being, reality is created. You can say whatever you want, but however you live, that's the reality that's going to be created. So, you know, what we do goes best when we adapt an attitude of gratitude in all that we do. And there are healing benefits of gratitude. Cheryl saying, pay it forward. And Susan, it was a God wink. Exactly. So there are healing benefits of gratitude. It relieves stress, which both prevents and helps heal disease. All disease is at least in part, if not entirely, due to some form of stress. Gratitude improves our mental state, and our mood will then go from despair to joy. So if you're feeling down about something, start giving thanks for the blessings in your life, and all of a sudden, you'll be in a much better frame of mind. The other thing about gratitude, when you're grateful, you'll, instead of seeing problems, you'll see solutions. Instead of your attention and your energy going on what you don't have and what's not going right, you will notice opportunities and you will take advantage of those opportunities. It opens up creativity. Gratitude opens up creativity. Friedrich Nietzsche said that the essence of all beautiful art, all great art, is gratitude. And if you think about it, think about the most fabulous pieces of art that you've ever seen, heard of, know about, and you'll realize that it's true. It comes through the art. It doesn't matter whether it's music or painting or statues. It doesn't matter. The gratitude comes through. It's an expression of higher realities. It's divine influence. That's what great art is. And you recognize it when you see that. Um, so we can take things for granted, or we can adapt an attitude of gratitude. And the the realities are very far apart indeed. But we'll live them either way. So the essence of Thanksgiving is gratitude, being thankful. Gratitude is a powerful spiritual practice. It opens the door to the spiritual realm. When we live a life of gratitude, we live a life of happiness and abundance. We experience a peaceful life that's full of miracles. We recognize grace in all things. We see beauty. We hear beauty. We smell, taste, and feel beauty because it's all a miracle. It's all we're looking at God and in everything that we can perceive. Gratitude lights the path back home. That's what it does. That's why it's among all the other reasons I've given why it's such a powerful spiritual practice because it literally lights the path back home. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And we'll, if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and put them in there. But we'll move on to a healing circle and we'll work a little bit on gratitude, with the healing circle tonight, being that we're doing a Thanksgiving special. And if you didn't catch the very beginning of the live, we're over 20,000 followers now. So thank you everybody for that. And again, no live next week. I'll post it, but I hope you all have a fantastic Thanksgiving, and we'll pick up the following week where we left off. Kim says, giving and helping others gives me gratitude. Indeed. That's like spirit in action. Love and compassion are not something that we're ever going to survive without. If we were ever to completely lose love and compassion, we would become extinct. We'd go the way the dinosaurs did. It's just the way it is. It's we just devolve into lower and lower and lower realities until that was it. We'd wipe ourselves off the map with some nuclear war, something. So love and compassion are not luxuries, they're necessities. Spiritual people understand that, and they roll that way. That is what makes them, expressions of spiritual beings is exactly that: love and compassion. You're not very spiritual if you're spewing hate. Let's just put it that way. Cheryl says that's fabulous. 20,000. I know, and Tracy too. It's that's a pretty big number. I mean, especially in this day and age with all the stuff going on with Facebook, it's not, it used to be that you could start a Facebook page and the numbers would just really quickly climb up there. Not the case anymore. Most people are losing, and we're steadily gaining. I mean, 20,000. We only started 3 years ago. Is 20,000 strong in the tribe and growing. So, thanks to everybody. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Tracy says, love makes the world go round. And indeed it does. And indeed it does. All right. So let's move on to the healing circle. Let me put this banner up here. All right. There we go. So everybody gather around, form a circle, join hands, gently close your eyes and mouths, breathing through the nose, down to about the belly button, just below the belly button. And then exhale back out through the nose. And another big deep breath. Inhale the peace all the way down to your lower energy center. And then exhale all tension. Inhale gratitude. Exhale all lack. Inhale peace. And exhale all disease, troublesome thoughts of any kind. All right, continue breathing on your own. Settle into the relaxation and move inward. You can follow the breath inward if you want. Let the outer world go for a while. Just follow the breath way down. And with each exhalation, release any tension that you find. Release any resistance to the relaxation or to this moment. Any troublesome thoughts, any troublesome emotions, anything rising up from the ego, just let it go. You do not need to engage it. You do not need to react. There is only consciousness. That's the only thing that really exists. Spirit, if you will, conscious energy. It's the only thing that's real. It's the only thing that never changes. It always is what it is, always has been, always will be. It's the only thing that you can say that about. But let's dive deep into consciousness and go back in time. Remember, consciousness is omnipresent. It exists in all places at all times. So let's move down a timeline. Let's count down to this morning. 3, 2, 1. Okay, it's this morning. What are you grateful for? What comes to mind this morning? Something to be grateful for. Now let's go a little further back in time. Let's go back to yesterday. 3, 2, 1. It's yesterday. What are you grateful for? Got it? Okay, let's go a little further back in time. Let's go all the way back to last week. 3, 2, 1. It's last week. What was something last week that you're grateful for? Let's go back even further. Let's go all the way back in time to last month. 3, 2, 1. Okay, last month. What are you grateful for? Let's go back further in time, all the way to last year. 3, 2, 1. It's last year. What are you grateful for? And let's go even further back in time, all the way to childhood. 3, 2, 1. Now, back in your childhood, what are you grateful for? Let's go further back in time. Let's go all the way back to the time of your birth. 3, 2, 1. Be grateful for birth and life, the opportunity to experience all that you've experienced and all you will experience. And let's go back even further. Let's go back in time before conception. 3, 2, 1. Be grateful to exist as an immortal spirit. And let's just sit with that one for about a minute. Just bathe in that, and then we'll continue. Okay. Now let's return to the healing circle. Three, two, one. So we have endless things to be grateful for. There's not really a moment you can go back to where there's not something to be grateful for. If we focus on that, then we will create a far greater future. So let's send some of this healing energy to Mother Earth and all of the life that she supports. Gratitude for all the miracles that exist. Peace on earth. And so it is. All right, slowly open your eyes. And if there's any last minute questions, go ahead and put them in the comment box. And then we'll call it a night. Kim says that love and compassion inspire others to embrace it too. It is. It's absolutely contagious. Now, we can be kind of nasty, and that will resonate with some people. The lowest common denominator. They may have some issues, and it triggers them. But it's difficult for people, even hateful people, even people that are just know nothing but pain, project nothing but hatred for others in the world. It's difficult for them in the presence of somebody that's really in touch with love and compassion not to be influenced by that. It's very difficult. And depending on how damaged they are, there's always going to be a little bit of healing, but sometimes a lot of healing that takes place because of that presence. Hi Tina, how you doing? It's okay. Hi Christina. Tracy says grateful for being. There you go. Love you too. All right, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. Kim reminding everybody to drink a glass of water, stay hydrated when doing energy work. Well, I wish all of you the very best all Thanksgiving week, and then we'll get back together the following week, Wednesday night, 6 p.m. for Conscious Shifting. I honor the God within you, and remember, until the next time, the only way to bring about the greater good is to be the greater good. Good night.